Good evening, everyone. We are here to discuss about instructional learning process. Before we start, I'm your first reporter, Dessa Marie Roldan. Learning objectives to provide direction for the instructional process by clearly stating the intended learning outcomes, to convey instructional intent to pupil, parents, educational organizations, and to provide basis for evaluating pupil learning by describing the performance to be measured. Teaching content. A body of knowledge and information that teacher teach and that students are expected to learn in a given subject or content area. When we say instructional learning process, it's the instruction between the learners and teachers. Instruction is the plan according to the curricula based on needs identified through assessment and made possible through training on teachers. Teacher must have orchestrate differentiate instruction day after day, hour after hour by passing his student and adjusting strategies moment by moment requires knowledge and skills. To successfully use differentiate instruction, a teacher must first have firm understanding of each of the cognitive components of the learning process, what they look like when they are working, and what the species of component it of each look like when they are breaking down. The teaching and learning activity can be considered as the process called the instructional process, which starts with the definition of the what learners should know and finish with the evaluation of what the learners actually know. To support teacher in the practice, the following are the basic steps of instructional procedure. Step 1. Analysis. Developing learning goals. It has defining instructional goals. Example, target to be reached by learners. Also have defining specific learning activities. Analysis also have understanding learner. It has analyzing learners and gathering as much information we can on their abilities, needs, and backgrounds. Step 2. Design. It has developing learning objectives and designing outcomes. Step 3. Develop. Facilitate learning. Classroom logistic. Create, assemble, and review instructional material available to students. Step 4. Implement. It has put in the lesson plan for into practice. Step 5. Evaluation. Self-evaluation, student reflection, and feedback. It has periodically checking in with the student, help build class solidarity and communication. It has also student learning. Step 6. Revision. To improve the learning performance, if the results of students are not satisfactory, the revision step introduces some correction in order to improve the overall performance of the instructional process by reversing the instructional analysis, revising the objectives, revising the methods of instruction, and lastly, revising the implementation techniques and material. Understanding the learning process to effectively differentiate instruction. There are 6 interactive components of the learning process. First, attention. It is easier for most of us to pay attention to the things that are interesting or exciting to us. It's difficult for most of us to pay attention to things that are not. Memory. It is important to remember that when a student understands something, it does not guarantee that he will remember it. Third, language. Language is the primary means by which we give and receive information in school. The two language processing systems are expressive and receptive. We use expressive language when we speak and write, and we use receptive language when we read and listen. Fourth, process and organize. We process and organize information in 2 main ways. Simultaneous or means spatial, and successive means sequential. First, simultaneous processing is the process we use in order or organize information in space. Second, successive processing is what we use to order or organize information in time and sequence. 5. Graph motor. The writing process requires neural, visual, and muscular coordination to produce written work. It is not an act of will, but rather an act of coordination among those functions. 6. Higher order thinking. Higher order thinking is more than memorizing fact or relating information exactly the same word as the teacher or book express it. In order to engage, motivate, and teach all learners at optical levels, teacher must understand the learning process in general. Understanding and response to student individual emotional and cognitive profiles and select instructional strategies and tactics that are effective for diverse learners. So that's all for my report. Thank you.